Hello, you know me. I'm Jennifer McCray, the J Shrink. I'm sorry. And I'm here to give you one of these rather funny stories. I'm a faithful subscriber of Lisa Cabrera because she's on my level, my wave of thinking, like intellectual. And but I do a little bit of the difference in because I have a background in mental health, disability laws, and counseling, and I have a master's in psychology. So I'm focusing on psychology, specifically Black psychology, but others too, and sociological and current affairs. Okay, so that's what my channel does. Okay, so what we're gonna look for today is this is a funny story. Let me see if I can get it a little bit better this way. Okay. Can y'all see this? You mean to bring it back some? I can't see it. Wait a minute. I got this. I don't know why it's all. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get it, okay? Okay, I think I got it. Guess what? According to home DNA tests, this Chihuahua by the name of Snoopy has 20% Native American blood. Snoopy is a Native American. Snoopy has all the rights, privileges, and everything of Native American. Doesn't she? What tribe do you think she's from? The Bijawa, Cree, Chippewa, the Greek Creek. Was trying to, she look like she. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. This is just funny. Okay, before I start reading the program, her owner was okay. Her owner was he was wary of all these DNA tests, specifically done in the U.S. of A. This story is in Canada, okay? But he decided to see if these things are really legit. So he got Snoopy, his girlfriend's a Chihuahua, and this is him. Let me see if I can get this to y'all. Okay, and this is him. Yeah. And his name is Louis. Y'all, I can't do French. Louis Chicote. He's a white guy. And guess what? Louis Chicote and Snoopy. They both have 20% Native American. That is just something else. So he thought he was seeing a lot of the people who were okay, in America they had what was called $5 Indians. Okay, like the people who came from Ellis Island way back when the treaties with the Indians and the Civil War was over. What you call it? I can't think of the name of it, but it began with an R. Anyway, back when all that stuff was going on, what is it? Reconstruction. That's it. The white people who were coming from Europe, they had stripped, the Trail of Tears. They had stripped all the 12 tribes, like the Cherokee and all them, from their homeland, well, which is in the southeast, to Arizona, and they call it the Trail of Tears. And also, they had something similar like that to Canada. But Canada, I think they have more Native Americans than we do too. They call them First Nation peoples in Canada. But I'm going to say Native Americans since we're in America. Okay, so anyway, he thought that, all these people coming up with similar DNA percentages, and they didn't look alike and stuff like that. So that's what he said, Snoopy. he sent his swab himself. He swabbed Snoopy and sent it to a company known as Viagar, which do home DNA tests. And another thing, this is just a little side bit. Okay, a lot of Native Americans, they say they have Indian heritage, and indigenous heritage, but it never shows up. Because they'll say something like, my great grandmother was a Cherokee, my great grandmother was a Choctaw, and it doesn't show up. And that's what I'm going to read you in this story about this Indian specialist, this Native American research specialist, that it's hard. She says it's very difficult determining Native American bloodline. It's not like being like black. It's one drop. You can look like a Swedish model. If you got one drop of black blood, you can have blue eyes, blonde hair, and white skin, and one drop of black blood and you're black. But so the whites were using that same ideology for the Indians, since they stole their land. And after they stole their land, they had a lot of free land to give away. Okay, so during that time, there was the people coming from Ellis Island. They were coming from Eastern Europe and Ireland, different places like that. And there were not that many, Native Americans, because the smallpox, all the wars with the Indians and stuff like that. So there was free land, and these people just got off the boat in Ellis Island from different ethnicities, different countries. So it's called. I got this information from Dr. Claude Anderson and Dane Conaway, both are researchers in this. They're called the $5 Indians. And what that basically means is that the white people who got off the boat, who didn't have any land or anything, who didn't have any land or anything, they were eligible. If they had $5, they could register on the official registry from the government, saying that they are an Indian, or Native American, or indigenous, indigenous person. So a lot of white people did that, all through the late 1900s, early 1900s. And that's why you hear a lot of white people say, oh yeah, my grandmother was a Lakota. Oh yeah, my great grandmother was a Sioux. Okay, so really what had happened was those great grandparents, they had that $5, and they registered as Indian because it was on the official government register. And from that $5 Indians, they got all the privileges: land, money, just all the privileges that they took away from the Indians. they got the privileges, okay? So they had the land, the money, the wherewithal, and that's the story of how the white people, and you see them now. I look more like a Native American. Look at me. Than a lot of these white people who say that they have indigenous Native American in their ancestry. Now, do I not look like more like one than some of these white people? Okay. So anyway, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this. It said that Mr. Yeah, I'm okay. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Let me see. Hold on. I'm I'm not good at French. I know Spanish and German. Okay, it says Mr. Cote suspected an Indian status scam and that told a man that he shared the same ancestry with a dog should serve as a reminder of the perils of DNA testing for indigenous ancestry, says an Edmonton researcher. And this is a legit. This is an expert. Kim Talbert, the Canada Research Chair in Indigenous Peoples Technoscience environment, she said, has a long, worry history of not properly testing, but people not testing indigenous, or people testing indigenous if they are. So that's basically what they said. Yeah, she said yeah. Long history where she's wary of people who, say, they look white and they say they got Native American grandmother and this and that. Okay, so DNA testing may be the future of genealogy. So she said in general it's good for genealogy, but Indian Native American culture is so different from others. It's basically what she's gonna say is it's hard for these DNAs tests to find all the answers they're looking for in the test tube. And she's a scholar at the University of Alabama. And she said that I don't want people to make money doing what I think is stupid science. And the author of Native American DNA, Tribal Belonging, and False Promise of Genetic Science. So this woman, this woman is the expert in Native America. She is 100% one, 100% Native American, and she is an expert. Okay, so via guards, that's a test we talk about. DNA testing determines Snoopy has 20% indigenous ancestry. Here's Snoopy. 20. 20%. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Please, y'all. Please, y'all. No. I just, this is so funny. Okay, she has 20% indigenous ancestry. She has 12% Abenaki and 8% Mohawk. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. This scam thing was the thing that they would get doing an investigation. The CBC, Canadian company, Canadian Broadcasting Company, about around Quebec. And let me show you something. Also, this is basically their free card. Okay. Wait a minute. I have to go around again. Okay, yeah, I'm low tech. Okay. Y'all see this? Let me see if I can get this. Okay, so you see the white man over there. This woman right here to the right, she's an official Native American. That's the official Native American card that they must carry to show that they can get special consideration and privileges. And the next, you see just a regular white man, one of them, oh, my great grandmama was Choctaw, and I got brown eyes because of that. And this is a fake, phony one. So that's where the investigation came from. Okay. I love y'all. I move a lot. Okay. So it said, you talked about Lewis and the Chihuahua. When the test came back, the results showed both the man and the dog had 20% indigenous ancestry. I'm sorry. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. Please excuse me. This is the most hilarious. I'm depressed. And this video, it's taking me out of it. Just taking me out of the depression. Okay, CBC News found they were not only concerned about the accuracy of the DNA test, but also the possible fraudulent uses of cards resembling certificates of Indian status to secure tax exemptions to the holders when they aren't tied. I showed you those cards a few minutes ago, right? A fake one with the white man and the legitimate with the true Native American woman. There are problems in the DNA industry related to Native American DNA testing. Y'all have to excuse my dog. I don't know why she waited until I started doing this. Okay, let me read that over again because she playing with a toy. There are problems in the DNA testing industry related. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, there are problems in the Native American. There were not only concerns about the accuracy of DNA tests, but also about the possible fraud and use of the cards. And we saw that a minute ago. There are problems in the DNA testing related to Native American testing, but this is the first time I've seen them confuse Native ancestry with dog lineages. How fast? We are dogs, the dogs are us. Okay, this is not a mistake that would be very easy to make if you actually had a credible lab. But there are some more subtle problems that happens with these tests. Because everybody's getting one now, and they... I was going to get one, but I don't think I'm going to get one now. So we're going to talk about Tall Bear. She says the culture is more than just your genetic markers. She said that the case is egregious. Excuse me. But suggested all DNA test companies are taking advantage of a growing curiosity in ancestry research while neglecting complex questions around culture, race, and government status. See, Indians, they have a special place. Native Americans, indigenous, Aboriginal people, they have because the country was stolen from them, and they were here first, so they have a special privileges that white people and black people don't have. Okay, so DNA tests are not valid for determining indigenous affiliation. First Nations, that's what they call Indians in Canada, or tribal identity, said Talbert. The tests don't satisfy the requirements for Canadian status or band membership. Genetic ancestry tracing back to unnamed ancestors among the founding populations of the Americas is not the kind of biological tie that matters for gaining status, she said. Even the most credible test for indigenous ancestry rarely provides detailed tribal affiliations and are prone to inaccuracies due to the lack of diverse sampling size. Sampling size is too small of the genetic profiles in their database because there are not that many Native Americans, so they're going to have a small, sample size. When you do, when you do research, you have to have samples. Okay. If a person is told that they belong to a specific tribe or ethnic group, having matching genetic markers from ages ago doesn't mean that they have lived experience to become part of the community. Excuse me. So basically what that is saying is they have had to have been living in the community or reservation or whatever, and not just was white. The whole family was white. They was raised white and might. No, that's not it. So it's just not the genetic markers from people, great grandma, but they have to have become part of the culture somewhere down up the ancestry line. Belonging to a particular community can mean sharing beliefs, cultural practices, and even official memberships, not just genetic material. Talbert said she would never rely on a lab to interpret her cultural roots. Even in an incredible DNA lab, there are problems with using these kinds of tests to determine indigenous affiliation, she said. Why should I give $300 so they can get to use my DNA to sell a product that I ethnically disagree with? So, basically, that's what it is. It is what it is. It is. So it's sad now. It started out being, being funny, but these people are ripping people off. I've watched those DNA things online and everything, and the people thought they were this and that, and they weren't this and that. Especially when they were adopted, they were told they were this and that. So, okay, now let me explain something else. Okay, these are just personal DNAs. They are separate from forensic DNAs. Forensic DNAs are used to find criminals, crime, anything to do with the criminal justice system. Those are forensic DNAs, okay? Like those people getting exonerated from prison after being being an inmate for 30 years for a crime they didn't commit. That kind of DNA, that's called a forensic DNA, and it's more specific and more fine-tuned. So this is just your little home DNA, like pregnancy test, as opposed to a well-founded, valid, is reliable and valid, as in a forensic DNA. It has the validity to it. It tests what it's supposed to test, and it's reliable. And that means that it tests the way it's supposed to test all the time. So I thought that was cute. And you can also learn a little about the culture. And I would also like for some of you, some of my white viewers, to look up Google $5 Indians, and you will see that some of your ancestors bought their indigenous heritage. They never were indigenous, and it was a widespread scam. So I invite white people. I know y'all, y'all may be mad or offensive, but it's the truth. You just have to hear the truth. We black people, we have to face the truth too. Okay. So if you have any questions, subscribe, like, share, and I'll bring you more funny stories or more intriguing stories. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.